forum.
Yeah, yep. And just put out.
And we're supposed to get it sometime either later this week or next week to kind of get the labels and all the lettering. And then we'll have it all.
I know it's.
You just gotta drag it out.
Everybody get a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting?
Are they different times, different dates?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, I just saw those. June first, you said. No, because I thought that's. No, they go that very last week.
I was forced to go to Florida for 2 months.
The only thing I have for tonight is, we were informed by New York State DOH that we've been conducting our meetings here at the fire station for quite a few years now, and we are not compliant. It has to be a handicapped accessible facility. So I'll throw it out to the body. I guess one option would be to go back to the way we used to do it a number of years ago, where each county is going to take turns hosting it. I mean, we're open to suggestions. I know there's fire training centers, fire stations, any way that we want to be able to do that. But a number of people have already asked that we come up to Niagara County once in a while and down into Genesee County once in a while. So
There's 6 meetings a year, and Orleans County doesn't have a training center that's handicap accessible. So you should probably do 3 in Niagara and 3 in Genesee.
well, we'll get it all hashed out. Everybody has my email. If they have any suggestions or want to offer their fire station or quarters or whatever.
All for ours.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, Alabama, that would be
Yeah,
nice.
just redid the whole front, it's all handicapped now, and back in
Yeah, I know that.
the whole street.
Yeah, and they said that the Genesee County Fire Training Center is available to us anytime.
I'm sure Niagara County would be with enough notice, because I know they're very busy there.
We used to have them there occasionally.
Yeah.
I remember that.
We talked to Jonathan to coordinate it.
Okay.
But wait, how did they find out?
We've always been.
Our DOH.
From Wade.
I'm just curious, I'm not pointing, I'm just curious.
There a couple weeks ago with y'all, I have no problem.
Believe it or not, it was a conference call that myself and Ed and Sean were involved in to do with the Gateway project, which we're going to touch on that too, that we've made a lot of progress, but who actually was it that inquired?
Mike Taylor.
Yeah.
He's the one who said, hey, we
He
do know that
remembered
you
coming
He
can.
remembered
Jim
trying to get
Mahalko.
poor Jim Mahalko up the stairs right after he had his surgery.
Oh.
And he said, is that place handicapped accessible now? And he said, not that we're aware of. And he said, you can't have the meetings there anymore.
And the previous place that we held them was no more accessible than this one.
Yeah. Over here? They had a elevator. Yeah, I thought so. I mean, that was the thing that they brought up. There is no elevator. The restrooms. I'm sure they're gonna look at everything, but.
Yeah, right? If we're getting that funding, we have to be handicapped
Yeah,
accessible.
that's,
What funding?
Coming
it's
through.
close. He'll touch on it, so it's close.
Well, just this year's, not
Oh,
the
yeah.
back?
No.
You don't get
we lost
everything
that.
back.
No.
Okay.
That's lost.
We can hold.
We asked.
The other thing that they brought up was, way back when they used to have food here, which they said is absolutely forbidden per New York State. The council cannot pay for food. But if we get some folks that, you know, want to have us have a meeting at their fire hall, they can host it, and if they want to, you know, put some food out there or whatever, that's.
Wade's always looking for food.
I was thinking city would pay with fire, I mean, come on.
Yeah, right.
I got some cooks on the crew, but I could probably figure something out.
You charge a rental fee. The department charges a rental fee for the use of their hall. They provide the food as a courtesy.
And it
So
also.
technically, we're providing, our bill to them is for the rental of a hall for the meeting, and in turn, I mean, there's ways around it.
Oh, absolutely.
But you just have to be creative and make sure that what we do is approved by the state, but they're basically saying, make sure that you're in compliance and let us know what you're doing before you do it, so you have our blessing, so when you submit that voucher, they won't get kicked back. That's all they're asking. They're very open about it, but they just don't know. Other councils get around it somehow, and they said to check with them, but that's one thing I thought of when we were just talking about it now, is how we can do it. Maybe.
Okay, so as a group, we'll all work on that. We've already got Sean all warmed up, so we'll let him do the treasurer's report.
Really simple. The bank statement's up here. We have $15,088.58 in the bank. The only expenditure was one check for $61.14. That was for the legal ads for the city of Lockport, for their postings. And we still have sitting with the, well, there's that.
I'll also ask that Sean give you guys an update on all the CON activity we've had lately, the progress that's been made with a couple of them, and what's still kind of floating out there.
I was thinking about, the only thing I was gonna say is we still have the unclaimed funds that are sitting with New York State and the total of about $6,000. That the reasons we never got those checks forwarded is because of all the times that we have moved from next door to here to Niagara, to wherever those checks went, they never found their way to where our office is now. And then when we filed for the money, because we didn't have all the right paperwork, we can't really try to claim that money yet, but once the Gateway project is done, then I think we can file for that money. So we're kind of waiting for that so we could go back to collect that money that is due to us.
So it'll be the gateway funds plus the $6,000.
Right, because that was some of the thing with the COVA, when we spent money and then we didn't have it set in the computer saying, okay, everything was done, it was all jumbled together. So we have to be able to collect that. So with the Gateway project being close, then that'll be close as well. But the first one we'll talk about is COVA's. COVA, their con was contested. It went through the appeal process with the state. The systems got a hold of it. They had a heated discussion, I guess, on it, and came down to a tie vote, and the chairman had to break the tie. So he voted in favor of the con to go to REMSCO for a vote. Went to REMSCO. If anybody watched the proceedings, I knew what the outcome was from Robert, so I knew what it was, but then as I'm watching it, it was like watching a great movie, and, you know, with all the work he doing it, you know, I'm sitting here watching. They go to a vote, and then they said, well, it doesn't pass, and I'm like, yeah, Robert told me to pass, so I wanted to see for myself. So we go a little bit further, and they said they had to go into a recess, and they said take a 3-minute recess, somewhere from 20 minutes to an hour long in the recess, while legal got involved for what constituted a quorum and what the vote was. At the end, legal weighed in, and COVA's con has passed, and you actually received your certificate today. So they are for all of Orleans County, and you also have
Hamlet.
Hamlet.
Hamlin, parts of Kendall, parts of Clarkson.
And that came in as well. So as far as that con process is gone, that is complete. I did send to the con committee because Dana did make the comment not only about this con, but the way we've handled all of them in recent times. You know, pretty much, I'll say it since the current group took over, since this council has taken over all that, they have been very pleased with the work we've done with our documentation. We've had 2 of them that have gone right to REMSCO and been appealed, and everything has been in our favor, so we've done everything right. I know in the past we had an incident where we voted one way and we were overruled on our decision, so I think we're doing what we're supposed to do. You know, we're doing it the right way. We're voting with the facts in front of us and not with our hearts, but we're voting with our heads, and we're doing the right thing. So they were very happy about that. Let's see, City of Lockport, their application is done. The 30-day waiting period came. Nobody has contested their application. I sent Dana an email. Ed, at the same time, was picking up the paper, sending an email, picking up the phone, and talking with the state. And the chief from the City of Lockport also contacted me all about this, all within like 10 minutes this was happening, that everybody must have had a ticker to say, hey, 30 days is up, what's the status? So it was going to the issuing process. So their certificate for the BLSFR is complete, and their certificate should be issued within the next couple of days. ALSF is what I say, ALSF. We talked too much about that over the phone just recently. So that application is complete. So in the next meeting, I'll have the expense report for COVAs and the City of Lockport, so we can close those out and turn those receipts over to those entities. Do the next easiest one, which will be the South Wilson Fire Department. We rejected their application for a number of reasons, and we sent their entire packet back to them to be reworked. They have requested a meeting, so we tried to arrange it with Lake Plains, with Robert, Ed, and myself, but it's too difficult to get all 3 of us on the same time frame. So right now, we've got a meeting scheduled with them for June 1st, 6:30 at South Wilson Fire Department. It's obviously open to anybody who wants to come and attend. But just to review what is required for them to submit their application back to this body for their ALSFR application. So that should be coming back to us, I imagine, soon, but we'll see where that goes. The last one we have on the plate is Darien Lake, Six Flags, their application, and a phone call conversation again with Ed. It was a very short conversation with Ed and Dana, and Dana has reviewed all the updated documents that they had. There was a conference call while I was out of town between, 6 or 10 attorneys with Darien Lakes Corporation, the way they're structured in the state, and they basically outlined what was required to provide with the application that they were lacking. They provided all the information. We've since forwarded that all on to Dana, and as of about 6 o'clock tonight, he stated that everything was complete. They were happy with the application. There was some minor issues with their fitness and competence, the paperwork they filled out, but it's been deemed that we're just looking to see that the basics are there. The details, the state and Dana is going to take care of, but he pointed out some deficiencies with those forms that they filled out. But we would never know by looking at it that there are deficiencies for the most part. As far as their application goes right now, Ed could probably speak more intelligently on that. As far as they're being able to operate, they're going to continue to operate as normal. While their ownership transfer is finalized, and it is in the best interest of providing service to them, and while the con process is kind of parallel with their changing of ownership on a legal basis, is the way I understand it. You want to elaborate any more?
Yeah, the way we looked at it is from, between the regional office and Albany, as long as Dairy Lake gave us a timely and adequate submission of a renewal application for the old operating certificate in what we call, basically sort of good standing or good faith, okay? Along with insurance certificates to indicate that their insurance company knows that a organization that is doing a transfer of ownership that technically has already previously been officially transferred on the books, they'd still account for all those components, and we basically had them outline all that stuff in a cover letter and provide certificates of insurance. We are going to go ahead and cover them to continue to operate as long as they continue with the transfer of ownership, and that's adequate and appropriate, and kind of go from there. So, and they still have to have insurance and all that. It's costing them some, insurance money or what have you. But that's what Albany and the regional office agreed to. And we think that's the right thing to do for the community up there.
So that's where we stand with that. So that was deemed complete. We probably won't have a quorum for the con committee, so I'll probably send out an email to the con. Oh yeah, we do have enough for committee. So after this, I'd like to just convene real quick, 2-minute meeting, probably just open. I'd like to deem the application complete so we can move this over to Dana so we can continue with the process. So. That's all I have on the cons.
Thank you, Sean. Thanks to the entire CON committee and Sean for the kudos from the state of New York on their handling of the CONs. The only other thing I also wanted to touch on, as long as we're talking about the CONs, even though it doesn't involve an agency that's in our region, it involves one of the companies that's in our region. Can you just give us an idea of what's going on in the village of Rockport?
We're doing the same thing we did in Hamlin. We're doing staff leasing, and then we're transferring ownership of Rockport ambulance to Fuller ambulance.
Which obviously we won't be involved in that action, but I just felt that everybody should know because it's an agency in our region that's spearheading it.
I wish it was this region. No REMS is a nightmare.
We're too easy on everybody. Let's see. I'll turn it over to Robert, Program Agency Report.
Good evening. So I've listed some of the classes. I just want to point out a few. At the end of the month on 5/30 is the last CME that we'll do until the end of summer. So if you need a few hours, make sure to sign that up. It's EMS operations. On the 21st, a lot of stuff going on next week. We all know it's EMS week. The state's put out a new initiative that they're really trying to drive to the agencies called EMS on Tour. I've had a couple of agencies express interest. I know around the state there's been a bunch of other interest from agencies. So if you're able to, please take the 19th, it's the 19th, which is Sunday, from noon to 4, get out in the community, go hang out at one of the, Tops or Park or something, and just let the community know what you do. This is that time for you guys to let them know, hey, we're here for you, this is what we do. Anybody needs any information, email me, I'll shoot you all the information I've gotten from the state on this matter, but I think it's a good thing. In addition to that, obviously a lot of events going on with cookouts and everything. I don't have a list of who's doing what, but on the 21st which is, I believe, Tuesday. There is an EMS night out at Batavia's EMS quarters in Batavia. Sorry, EMS, Mercy EMS in the Batavia quarters. At 6:30, there's some classes, a couple of CME classes, and I guess good times. The 22nd, if anybody doesn't know, E&H Lockport is changing their doctor group. So they're moving from Keystone to UBMD. So on the 22nd, UBMD is going to actually be down at the Niagara County PSTF for a meet and greet. They promised to bring food. Anybody's welcome to come. Definitely should be a heavier focus with Niagara County and some of Orleans. I know this does transport every once in a while out there. So, REMAC meeting was today, and Clarendon Fire got reapproved for albuterol and blood glucometry, and there were a couple of Narcans in there as well. So May 4th, we had an instructor update between both sessions, had about 45 participants. It was a good turnout. The Facebook group, if you haven't had a chance to join, please join. A lot of information goes on there. The state's very actively involved in that Facebook group, so it's your chance to get your voice out there and heard. And last there was about 1,000 individuals that have joined that group. It's not open to the public, by the way. You got to get accepted into it. So the CC to Medic Bridge open enrollment's occurring right now for a second session. Deadline is the end of the month, so there's not very much time left to get your application in, and it's a pretty tedious process. And that class is scheduled to start on June 14th. So I don't really have much more. I know the bullet point on here, May 25th and May 28th. It meant to say Mercy's doing a open house / recruitment event. So if you're looking for employment with Mercy, please sign up on their website. And both of those are going to be at the Batavia quarters. So there was some stuff that had come out of the state meeting, some other stuff that's quite concerning, but just so everyone knows, especially with course sponsors in the advanced curriculum, there's now chatter about going to the national curriculum for advanced, which means that will eliminate innovation for the advanced providers. It's been tabled as of right now. There was quite a bit of opposition actually against it. So just be aware that come September meeting, there's going to be chatter about that. So I don't know where it's going, but other than that, I'm now up to 8 PEC agencies. Medina had just recently signed in as a PEC coordinator. And the next REMAC meeting is June 19th at the Twin City headquarters. So, any questions? Sweet.
Thank you, Robert.
Yep.
Ed, do you have anything that you'd like to bring up tonight?
No, I think that I think the majority of it is covered. We're working diligently on moving forward with our inspections. We're still short-staffed, one person out of the Buffalo office. We've got a lot of project work. We've got inspections for the summer that are certainly planned. However, we're also have developed that we are on a backlog sheet for inspections. So I just want to make an announcement, sort of that a lot of people think that the agency inspection coincides directly with the agency renewal application, and the state has a goal to aggressively get to that level where every 2 years each agency that's certified is going to be inspected. It's a heavy goal. Right now we're currently with a volunteer status. We're on a a 6-year cycle. We're moving that down to like a 4-year cycle, and we're incrementally becoming more in tune with getting those inspections completed more timely. But, obviously we have a critical need for additional staff, and, it's, we have all sorts of projects that are going on that are not just directly related to field inspections. But, EMS week, EMS Memorials next week. I always emphasize that if your agency does have any resources to spare, that's a pretty moving event. And, Buffalo, New York is vital signs this year. So all things that have been said, and certainly EMS on tour for that Sunday of EMS week. Thank you for everything that everybody does for EMS week and Nurses Week last week, and or whatever exactly it was. I don't know the exact dates, but I guess I should. And that's about it, really. So thank you very much. State meetings, as Rob has reported, some interesting things going on that are regional. So thank you.
I'll let you know which concert to come out.
Oh yeah,
It'll be a working visit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Caitlin, do you have anything from Medina Memorial? No? Wanda, can you speak on behalf of United Memorial? Any complaints, any issues, any?
We never complain.
Until we leave.
Yeah. No, we're good, I think.
Okay. I've got some letters here that Robert passed along to me for some physicians that are requesting to be, through this council, be appointed to the REMAC committee. One is Dr. Eric Peterson, represent United Memorial Medical Center. This one is Dr. Naveen Seth, appointment for Eastern Niagara Hospital. And Dr. Dan Victor, Mount St. Mary's Hospital in Lewiston.
I assume they're all 3 certified emergency room physicians.
I believe, I'm not certain about this Dan Victor. Is anybody familiar with him?
I'm not. I was told that, yes.
Any of you Niagara guys familiar with him?
What hospital?
St. Mary's.
Mount St. Mary's.
What's the name?
Dan Victor. It doesn't say that he's an MD, it just says Dan Victor.
He is a doctor,
He
that
is a
I do
doctor.
know.
He wants to be on REMAC?
But it has to go through this council.
Is there open seats on REMAC?
They're probably replacing ones that they're going to remove, I'm assuming, but it doesn't specify.
I would assume,
No,
be
because Dr.
assuming that.
Conley stepped down, so Dr. Peterson will be replacing him. Yeah.
I mean, you could do each one on a county basis, because
Yeah.
I wouldn't sum them all into one, because I can't sit here and say anything about
No,
anybody outside our county,
like you said,
It's just-
Peterson's taken over from
Right.
Well,
Conley.
technically, there's supposed to be representation from
Each hospital.
each hospital in the REMAC region.
Peterson, I don't have any problems with at all.
Right, that's why I'm saying, I know him, like, when you have a question on who this other one is, if someone isn't here from that county that knows who it is, I can't vote that person in, unless they're here to say, hey, yeah, here I am, here's my credentials, or something. Get the street right here.
Well, we can
We can make a motion to
we can
endorse
table the one,
Peterson.
and then the other.
One by one.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion
Second.
for Dr. Peterson.
That's a second.
All in favor of Dr. Peterson for United Memorial?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
And then who's the other one?
The other one is Dr. Naveen Seth.
So Dr. Naveen Seth is from UBMD. He's going to be taking over he's going to be the rep when they take over
At what hospital?
Eastern Niagara.
Eastern
He is a ER doctor. He was an EMS fellow. He's actually even a EMTV. He's a basic, so.
And they don't have a lot on REMAC right now.
Not right at the moment.
No.
There's just Karen to show me there's a bunch of holes.
So you should go vote him into.
Which would take effect on July 1st.
Yeah.
I just want to get it rolled down to
Yeah.
REMAC.
I'll make a motion for Dr. Sutton.
I'll second that.
Dr. Seth's appointment. Any opposed? Okay, and Dan Victor will be tabled until we do a little investigation and get a hold of
Send a
him or
resume
somebody.
or something, so we know his background. Yeah, that even says he's a doctor, because the letter doesn't.
It doesn't even say MD. Does anybody have any new business to bring before the council?
I got a couple. After that short conversation with Dana, and Ed, you can correct me if I'm wrong, as I'm speaking with some of the things that I was dozing after one. But one thing that Dana was saying is, he was encouraging a lot of people to go into like the EPCRs if they're not already doing it. A lot of your BLSFRs may or may not be doing it, but he said there's a big push, you know, that we've heard on a constant basis, so it's kind of being reiterated again by the state saying, hey, you should probably make sure everybody's there, or encourage them to get there if it's possible, they have the financial capability of doing it, so. At this point,
Volunteers?
yes. We're kind of talking like BLSFRs. The other concern, or I guess suggestion that came out of it, was this council's ability, and maybe our responsibility, if you will, kind of to monitor the BLSFRs that are within our region, to make sure that they are providing PCRs, because there could be some that aren't doing what they're supposed to, that they're not following, you know, quality, QA, QI policies. But basically, because it came up, do you know how many agencies that are BLSFR within your region? And I said, if you're talking about the 3-county region, I said, no. I can tell you what's in my county, but I have no idea outside my county what there is, and whether or not there's any issues with any of the other departments. I don't foresee any within ours, but, you know, I would probably hear it from Robert, you know, come into these meetings if there's anybody that's not filing their PCRs with them, because they send out periodic notes saying, hey, you're lacking, you haven't sent them in for a couple months or whatnot. So his suggestion was maybe to get a list of all those agencies and maybe start doing some sort of review process on those agencies to make sure that they are compliant and they're doing what they're supposed to do. Because we do have a responsibility to the community to make sure that they are doing what they basically set out and said they were gonna do, but there's really no oversight on them. The state doesn't do that. They only follow up on ambulance services, and he's kind of looking to this council to say, hey, don't just come in and have a meeting, not really perform any real vital functions. Maybe it's something we can do to say, yeah, you know, we're actually accomplishing something, so.
Somebody had to.
So that's a suggestion that he had that we may want to look into. I'm sure I could get a list of agencies from them. You know, the state's always able to extract that information from some database somewhere. It's remarkable what he's able to provide us with that we don't think he knows, but he does. The other thing on there he was talking about was also getting that list and find out what services that are being provided within our region that we're responsible for. Includes ambulance services, and take a look at the territories that they're covering. We do know for a fact that Ransomville is an area that, as far as their as far as their certificate is concerned, there was an issue that was brought to our attention that's still unresolved, which is still on our plate to fix for the state. But, you know, making sure that the territories that they're saying they're covering are territories and there's not an overlap or someone providing a service in the town that they're not certified to provide. You know, just say they're providing it to the town and the village, but they really don't have a certificate to provide EMS service to the village. It's just making sure everybody's ducks are in a row. Not really trying to call anybody out, but just making sure we're doing our due diligence and that everybody's in compliance, so. that was all I had on that. The only other thing that in Oakfield, just a quick update, was I got an email from the county coordinator's office that our school is putting on some sort of EMS career day. I'm not sure because they have not officially reached out to me and asked me for anything, although I've been copied in on emails. And being copied in isn't the same as being actions to do anything or asked for me to provide anything. But they are looking to do something for like the sixth graders, some sort of day of caring, what EMS service is about, trying to incorporate Mercy, the ambulances service, the fire department, maybe someone from the hospital, just to shed some light and maybe encourage people to volunteer and or go, do what we're doing, but obviously we're all getting older and we gotta encourage the younger ones to maybe step up to the plate, and if we can get them at that earlier age, maybe we can.
I saw that email, but I don't know totally what it was.
That's all it was. Bill was copied in, he sent it to me and said you really should coordinate with the chief of the department.
Because it went through like Pam Cherry to us,
Yeah.
through the nurse, and then she copied me in on it, and I read some of it. And
it's like, I'm happy to help, tell me what you want.
yeah, well,
And but at the same point, they turn around and they want to do a prom. We said we would like to do a prom drill because we haven't done one in a couple of years. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. But we do want you to do that.
did Pam say that?
No, not Pam, the
Okay.
school.
Oh, the school.
So it's
Okay. I
like
was
they're
gonna say,
asking for one thing and
Pam's got
telling
like
you
five
what
of
you
them
want
on the
to.
one day, so.
So those are the only new things I have. If you're willing, if I can get your approval, I'll reach out to Dana and get a list together of all the BLSFRs and maybe get a starting point and see if we can work out what territories people are covering, making sure everyone's in compliance, there's no overlap, and try to work out some type of review process, I guess, if you will.
Does Sean have everyone's approval?
Or approved.
And any opposed?
We're not gonna do anything with it, we're just gonna bring it back to and then see where we wanna go with it from there, that's all. Just so people know, agencies out there aren't getting scared that we're looking at them or anything, we're just doing a general overview type thing, so. And I'm done. Sorry.
Thank you, Sean. Any other new business anybody have?
I just need a letter from each EMS council, listing who your Big Lake reps are, so I can update the sign-in sheet.
From the Gateway project, because they were talking about numbers and that she had put it in, but maybe we should get that and distribute that to your group, just for an idea of what's being proposed. So it's not.
So just need an update Robert replies with
Just,
that.
yeah, just get in touch with Colleen tomorrow. I think she's in the office, I'm not sure.
Okay.
She's in and out.
Just to maybe send it to the whole council to say, hey, this is where it is, this is what the budget is. As far as the Gateway project goes, when I sat in the project, they were talking about the budgets and some of the proposed numbers that are in there. So the state is very concerned over where those numbers are coming from and that they can justify numbers. For an example is, Lake Plains was saying we're gonna charge you $10,000 a year for rent and or services and how that gets categorized. And the state had a concern with where they came up with the number and what was included in that. And, they had to kind of like take another look at maybe those numbers and the numbers that are being proposed in the budget that's for this council. So this council needs to see what that proposed budget is, because you have input on it as well and can say, hey, yes, we do agree or we don't. But just so we're not blindsided at the very end and say, here's a budget you have to live with. We do know that it's, we're only gonna get $25,000, but where that money is allocated and why the money's allocated where it is. Like Wade said, we can't buy food, they don't allow that. What kind of equipment, what are we sharing, who's paying for the heat, the electric? Do we have a desk in that office, what do we have there, what do we own, what shared services. So the state is very conscious about looking at all that and making sure what's theirs is theirs, what's ours is ours, and what we share collectively through our rental agreement, if you will, like using their meeting room or whatever it may be, that's captured within the budget, so. But I'll get a copy of what that proposed budget and those numbers are, and we'll get that emailed out to the council so you know what that is. I think that's kind of fair.
Any other new business?
Yeah, I think we ought to do an audit of Cheryl's books.
We still haven't done the audit on mine either, you know, from that time either.
Well, you and I talked about it.
And we tried to get the three together, I grabbed everything and then we never got together.
Somebody went out of town for,
Yeah, well, that was unexpected, so.
we need to get together and,
To at least review everything that we've paid since I've taken over. Cheryl's done it. We have that, the state doesn't like the way we've done it, but again, once Colleen's got this, listening to her, I didn't say one word during that whole conversation. They didn't even know I was on this call. But I am emailing Charlotte and Wade at the same time, and it's like, you know, with comments about the things they were saying, and she has her act together. She knows what's required. And that grant gateway, I can see that being done in a short period of time, so, you know, she's got her act together. And then the numbers that I'm keeping on this computer for who's got what and different, you know, all within this account, which money is COVA's, which one is the city, and all the agencies that contribute the money, so that we can get that all into her computer and she can manage it. As long as we turn it to her, it's.
somebody can combine.
Yep.
Any other new business? At this point, I think, just so everybody's on the same page for our next meeting, unless anybody objects, we'll accept Terry's offer to have the next meeting at the Alabama Fire Department Rec Hall.
You better put that on your calendar.
What day will it be?
July, we're gonna have one in July? It's May. REMAC doesn't have one in July.
REMAC's last meeting is June and then till September.
Our only problem is going to be the Darien Lake Con.
Well, that could just be an emergency meeting
Yeah.
when it's ready.
Just to kind of keep that in the back of your mind, if we're not going to have one in a while, we may have to do that, and we just would have to make sure we could hold it somewhere so that we make sure that people are there, so we can make the vote and move it forward, that process forward, because we don't want to shed a bad light on us with the state for being holding up their application. Even though we asked them to say that.
Just make sure you tell me like a month ahead. Because we just remodeled the front of the fire hall, so everybody's calling me wants to run it now.
We'll ask everybody, you want it in August, you want it in September, what does everybody want?
I thought we did September, October, December.
Usually you guys run on the even months. I don't know how this one kind of squeezed in there, but normally you would run a June meeting. And then you wouldn't come back till August.
Why don't you just plan the June meeting and take the rest of summer off?
Typically, that would be June 12th.
Is everybody good with June 12th at the Alabama Fire Hall? Rec Hall?
What, a night shift? There's no concert that night, is there?
I know.
June 12th. We're good here.
Yeah, exactly.
All that matters. Tell them you're in Lake, better give us some tickets if you want us to vote yes on.
No,
Too expensive
when we
to
have
buy.
the con vote for Darien Lake, we should all be on top of a roller coaster. All in favor, say aye. Aye. They want us to pass.
Yeah.
They got the new ride, they got the big swing ride. Highest.
Well, if everybody's good with that, then that's the next meeting. No, they're all in Alabama Rock Hall.
June 12th, no mess.
Yeah, exactly.